Hi folks, John with the Wingman 115 channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm out here in my lovely playground up in the Laguna Mountains east of San Diego, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to test a piece of kit tonight. Now, the folks over at 2GoSystems were nice enough to send me this Trifecta BIVVY. Now, they call it a Trifecta BIVVY because it serves three purposes. It's a BIVVY sack, it's an emergency blanket, and it's also an emergency shelter slash tarp. Okay, now that I'm up close and personal, I'm going to show you some of the features of this V2 Trifecta. Now they call it V2 because version 1 was white Tyvek, and they found a way to do some sort of earth tone colored Tyvek. But what's really cool is now they have water resistant zippers, which version 1 did not have. There's a reflective coating on the inside. So here's the great thing about this. You can use it as a bivvy, you can use it as an emergency blanket, or you can use it as a shelter, some sort of tarp shelter. And it has guy outs here. Now tomorrow, after I spend the night in this, I'll do some practical application of how I tie this out and how it would look, and we'll go over some of the specs, but I'm chasing darkness right now. But what's cool about this is that, if you can see inside, it is taped seams. So if you're not using this, say, as an emergency bivvy, you could also put your sleep system inside of there and stay ultra comfy warm. Now, I'm gonna do some real world testing. I brought a thermometer, and hopefully tonight I get a good night's sleep and I don't wake up multiple times. But if I do, I'll turn on the camera and I'll do a temperature reading, and then I'll tell you the comfort level of this system. Now, I have to be real world, right? It's most likely going to be a survival situation without a sleep system inside this bag. So as long as I'm not ice cold, I'm really not going to complain on that. But I'll give you a full rundown in the morning of thoughts and how it worked for me. So the next time I see you, we'll be inside the tent later on tonight. Here's a quick look of my setup for the night. Got my jacket, got my schmog, and the bivvy sack in here. I have my sleeping bag in the Jeep for that just in case moment, in case it just gets too cold and unbearable. But we're going to give it the Old Navy try and see how it goes. Once I get it hit the rack, I will give you a temperature reading, and then if there's any updates through the night, stand by. All right, let's show you real quick. Oh, got a really cool light from Sunjack. Have it plugged into a like one of those battery banks. Pretty cool. I just use a little bread tie to hold it up top of my tent. But let's see if it'll show what the temp is here. 55 degrees, and it's talking about getting down into the 40s, probably a couple hours before sunrise. So, as you can see, no sleeping bag in there. Now, for the sake of not having to get up and walk over to my Jeep, I did bring my blankets over there. And no, Scout's honor, I'm not going to be using it tonight. This is a test to find out if this system is going to work. If it gets to where I'm too cold, then I'll fire up the camera, we'll turn the light on, and then I'll grab a blanket and then I'll show you. But it's all about keeping it real. Your life may depend on this system, and I want to make sure that it's going to work as advertised. So, lights out, and hopefully I'll see you in the morning. Morning, folks. Well, it got down around 48, 49 degrees last night at about 2 o'clock. My feet were a little cold. My back started getting a little bit cold. So
I went out and I put a blanket inside of this bag, and let me tell you something, it's been super comfortable the whole night. If you're a minimalist and you just want to go out with the bare minimum, a blanket inside this is going to work just fine. In an emergency, it'll definitely keep you alive, and that's what these bags are designed for. If you augment this with your sleep system, like I said in the intro, it's going to work great. One thing you want to keep in mind is this bag is long, and I'll put the specs after in the next part where I show the setup and all that. And you do not want to put your face over this, because all the vapor of breathing in and out, you're going to sweat this bag. So make sure that you don't do that. But I'm going to get some breakfast. Hopefully the wind dies down just a little bit, and we'll be able to do the setup and start part 2 of this.
This is phase 2 of this review. I wanted to show you folks how you could set this BIVVY up as a quick, hasty shelter. Now, we don't need to go through all the different configurations of how to make a tarp shelter, but I wanted to show you just how much room you had and a nice reflective coating on the inside. So if you had a campfire, you're getting all that reflective heat bouncing, hitting you on your back, keeping you dry. My tent peg, obviously, Murphy's Law, didn't hold, but the show must go on. What's neat is I'm going to cut away. I'm going to show you real quick some anchor points on this BIVVY. And one thing I want to talk about that is it has a tensile strength of about 40 pounds. So you don't want to get in there and start doing the Incredible Hulk and just cinching everything down super tight, because you're going to rip those D-rings and those anchor points right out of this BIVVY. Now, the setup was real quick. I just used a quick Larkspur just to set it up, some paracord. I'll leave that attached to these rings because you never know how I'm going to set this up. But I just wanted to illustrate real quick on the fly how this would work. Now, you can also use this, if I can get this off my knots, also as an emergency blanket. So if you're in your truck, if you're in your boat, and heaven forbid you go in the drink or you get exposed and that core temperature is falling, it's imperative that you get warm as fast as possible. Well, with all your gear on, you could just hunker down and just right there, and you got a shelter. And if it got really bad, guess what? I'm underneath the shelter. It's not the best, but I tell you, I've been in worse situations, and you got a little bit of barrier between you and the elements. Wind stop, moisture stop, just doing a great job. So let's cut away and let's get some final thoughts on this system. Now for some final thoughts on this Trifecta BIVVY setup. I slept with it that night about a week ago up here in the local mountains, and it got down probably in the high 40s. About 2 in the morning, I started to feel just a little cold, but that's with wet, just wet socks on, obviously, and all that. If it was a survival situation, I'd be fully clothed, my boots still on, jacket, everything. That didn't happen. I just had my sweatshirt on, and I left my BDU pants on, but my feet got a little bit cold, and my back got a little bit cold every time I would lay down and roll over a little bit. So I had to get a blanket, put it inside. That does not take away from the effectiveness of this. I still believe that this is an awesome piece of kit. I'm standing here right now with this draped over my shoulders, and just the heat radiating off me back to me. I mean, I'm sweating underneath this. But I just wanted to show folks the quality. Seam seal, tape, all the way around. You got water resistant zippers. So if you're stuck out there and you're in the hurt locker and it starts snowing, it starts raining, it starts doing whatever, you got a line of defense here to protect yourself against the elements. Like I said, you could use it as an emergency blanket like this, you could use it as a tarp shelter, or you could use it as a bivvy. I know what I'm gonna do. This is going in my Jeep, and it's gonna be in my to-go kit in my Jeep. I keep a knife, a saw, I keep a little bit of food in there, I keep first aid kit. Now I'm keeping this for that oh crap moment that if I break down, if I get stuck, a lot of times I come up here by myself and it possibly could happen. It could be hours before somebody comes. I mean, you should always leave a good hiking plan, right? And I always do. The wife always knows where I'm at, but it's still gonna take time for folks to get up here. This might make the difference between smoothing it or really roughing it, or as some folks have met their demise and have lost their lives. So, great piece of kit. I highly recommend this. It's just awesome. Like I said, it's going in my Jeep. It's gonna be in there all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. And if you folks are interested in knowing where to pick one of these up, I'll leave links in the video description below to the gentleman's website. I like supporting Made in America. I like supporting fellow veterans. And this is a great opportunity to help one of our own. Folks, this is John with the Wingman 115 channel. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not a subscriber, I ask you, what are you waiting for? Subscribe, hit that button, baby. Get her done. Start watching some of these videos. We're doing great stuff all summer long. We got a good lineup. Be part of the action. Social media, best way to get a hold of me, best way to get all the latest updates. I'm not going to bore you with the details. Links will be down below. And as always, folks, get out in the woods, have fun. Play around with your kits. You have to know the capability of the gear that you're using. I just can't stress that enough. And the most important thing, bring a kid and have fun. Take care, folks. I'll see you in the next video. I gotta go cool down a little bit. This thing's making me sweat. I'll talk to you later.